I'm of the opinion that you should not ever talk about the red pill to, especially to women that you want to become intimate with. Because you have to be, it's going to be something that they're going to discover along the way, anyways. The problem is this. Um, I don't think you should. I don't think you should have to. I don't think you should ever explain it. Certainly, don't offer it. Right. The problem that you're going to run into. This is a really good topic, and if Mike's watching, I want to use this as a topic at some point. Um, the problem that guys run into when it comes to women discovering, oh my gosh, you found me out. I'm actually red pill. That they think that that's going to be the end of the relationship. Well, the problem is that it should never come to that point in the first place. If you're spinning plates, okay, meaning you're dating non-exclusively. But I think a lot of people think that if you're red pill, you're learning how to be more masculine, you're trying to become the best version of yourself, and you're not quite there yet, but you're still dating a hot chick who like really thinks the world of you, and you're kind of green when it comes to red pill. Women want to believe that you're just the way you are, the way you are. Now, why do I say that? I was watching Mike Sartain, and he was on Alex from Playing with Fire. I don't know why you keep entertaining this dude, but anyways, the topic was the official topic was, is the red pill sleazy? Meaning, is it manipulative? Is it game playing? Like sleazy is this catch-all for like, what's sleazy? Let's define sleazy, right? Because sleazy to me is, a hot piece of ass at a club, at a nightclub in Los Angeles and Hollywood who's just ready to fuck, right? Whatever, is it that? No. But the thing is that the reason why we classify, or the question is, why is it sleazy, or is it sleazy? It's not sleazy. Is it manipulative? Is it selling a woman? And they finally got to this throughout the conversation. Is it selling a woman on the idea that you are something that you are not? And that's the problem that you're going to run into, implied leader. It's the idea that you are not genuine. You are not authentic. And this is where I kind of part ways sometimes with even Justin Waller about this, because Justin is authentically who he says he is. I know he's a family friend. I love him like a brother. My wife and his wife are very good friends. And so we've been really tight for a very long time. I know Justin is who he says he is, but Justin's really Justin can kind of get a little bit, I don't say puritanical, but sort of pontificate a little bit, because he earned his status. He got where he is today. He's jacked. We all know what his relationship status is. He's the kind of guy that women want to seek out his attentions. Okay. They want to fuck him. Okay. But he earned that, or at least he has the idea that he earned it. Right. And he does. And I know he legitimately has, but he's jacked because he works out. He stays on top of his game. Right. He maintains his quality and his status and his prestige through more or less legitimate ways. Right. So to have some guy come around and go, to have Mike Sartain come say, I can teach you how to be the best version of yourself. Right. And if that guy's perception of himself is to be like Justin Waller, and he wants to use Mike's program to become not Justin Waller, but somebody like Justin Waller, well, then you can see it as more of like being more inauthentic. As Rich Cooper has said a million times, women don't care about men's struggles. They wait at the finish line and they bang the winners. Okay. Now, I have said in the past that I think this is only half true, but the part that I do think is true is this: is women do not care about men's struggles. They want you to be who you purport yourself to be. If you are an attorney, you better goddamn well be an attorney. If you're a surgeon, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're jacked, whatever it is, they want to know that you got that. They don't care how you got it, but they want to know that it's legitimate. They want to know that it's for real. And that's what I was trying to point out during, in fact, I even had a discussion with Mike after this. Said the reason why, there was one girl that was on there and she was very upset, very, very upset because she didn't believe that you could teach a guy to be a quote unquote alpha male. That's not what he's teaching, but how to be a better person, right? How to become the best version of yourself. It doesn't magically happen. It's learned behavior. You have to internalize it and you have to learn this stuff. And that's why I keep saying there's no such thing as a natural. And people go, well, Justin Waller's a natural. Well, Yeah, he has the advantage, the head start, let's just say, of being good looking, tall, maybe just born into an advantageous position. Or at least people think that he really wasn't, but they think so. That's only a head start. He still has to learn the same things that average guys do. He just learns it faster at an accelerated rate. So there's no such thing as a natural. It's just that who we call a natural has certain advantages that accelerate them to becoming the best versions of themselves that you or I might have to struggle with because we don't have those natural talents. It's not that you can't learn those things. It's not that you can't internalize those things. It's not that your personality is not static. There are aspects of it that are static because it's a genetic thing. But men who get deployed to, live action combat come back with PTSD, and it fundamentally changes their personalities. They might still have the same gifts. They might still have the same intelligence, the IQ. They might still have all the same things, but they are fundamentally scarred, and they're doesn't necessarily have to be scarred, but through experience and through circumstance, it modifies the behavior and the personality that they had before they went off and were deployed. So you can either change your own personality on your own, or you can have it changed for you by circumstances. And sometimes those circumstances are good, and sometimes those circumstances are not so good. And we're probably more familiar with the ones that aren't. So when a woman finds out that you are quote unquote red pill, it's like revealing the game. Women don't want to be told that they're playing a game. They want you to be a good player of the game. They want to play the game. They don't want to be told that they're in a game. And so when you say I'm red pill, or they find the rational male on your nightstand, or you're a member of MOA, and then you kind of go, because there's this imposter syndrome that happens in that moment. Unless you own it, unless you are that person, unless that is your authentic internalized personality. But when women see that, it seems like it's disingenuous and you're trying to pull the wool over her eyes. And that's exactly why this one woman that was on this panel show with Mike was so upset about whether or not the red pill and PUA and all this other stuff, men becoming better men, was something that was authentic, because her impression is that men who are authentic don't have to do those things. No, they do, but you don't care about their struggles. You don't care about what it took to get to that position of what you think is authenticity. So if you look at Justin Waller, he seems very, very authentic, but he had to become something else. He had to become something more. He had a burden of performance, and he excelled at that burden of performance. And that is genuinely, authentically who he is. Does that mean that if you're not quite up to that level, you're halfway to that level? Does that mean you are a fraud? No, it just means that you haven't internalized everything. You're just not at that level yet. You're going to be, but you're not at that level yet. But if someone finds out that you're actually learning how to be a better man, and you've been purporting yourself to be that better man, that's when women that's when they think, that's when all the triggers go off. That's when the alert sirens go off. This guy isn't who he says he is. Inauthentic. You know how I know that? Because that's exactly the premise. So that's exactly the sort of the profit model, I guess, of shows like The Bachelor. The Bachelor, and in the lesser part, The Bachelorette. But The Bachelor is the whole reason that's in its 28th, 29th season is because it plays on that need for women to find out authenticity in a guy. Is he really who he says he is? In fact, this is the holistic. I'm considering writing a book called The Red Pill Holistic Method, right? That also then dovetails into discovering whether or not this guy is authentic, whether he's the real deal. If I can prove that he's not, then I dodged a bullet. It's an evolutionary fail-safe for women. Women's worst fear, their existential fear, is to reproduce with a guy who she thought was an alpha, who later becomes a beta. Or she got tricked by a beta to think he was an alpha, and now she's saddled with his child for the rest of her life. And again, why would that be? Why would that be an existential fear? Well, first of all, it's a life sentence. That's number one. And number two, it's tantamount to, because it's sex and it's reproduction that she wouldn't have had she believed that if he were honest, if he were authentic. That's why authenticity is such a paranoid, obsessive, compulsive issue with women. That's why The Bachelor is the most popular show on ABC, has been for a long time, right? Or certainly one of them. That's why it's in its 29th, almost 30th season right now. There are generations that grew up on that show because it triggers, it taps into that pain point that is existing in all women. Is he who he says he is? And then we can carry it on from there. When we talk about shit tests, when a woman shit tests a guy, there's two kinds of shit tests. There's the active shit test and the passive shit test. The active one is like when you meet her at the club and she just like ribbing you to see if you can play the game. Like, are you who you say you are? Are you really an attorney, or are you a sandwich artist at Subway? And that just has really good game and you look good and I'm going to fuck you anyways. Are you who you say you are? That filtration to determine if you are who you say you are, that's connected to the existential fear of women, which is, I don't want to breed with a guy who is a bad reproductive choice. It's sexy sons theory. I want my sons to have the genetics of a guy who is authentically who the fuck he says he is. Okay. And then there's the passive shit test, which is, did I make the right choice? Is he the best I can do? Passive shit tests come after you've already had that pairing. It's for people who are in a long-term relationship, people who are who are married, right? When your wife or woman nags you, why don't you do this? My mom said I should never marry you, blah, 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 blah. All of that passive aggressive negging and that bullshit that comes along with that, all that shit test that comes, it's rooted in one fear. Did I marry a loser? Did I reproduce with someone who isn't who he says he is, or became someone who he purported himself to be prior to us fucking and reproducing, having children?